I am very excited because this is a little secret recording I decided I'd make before the call tonight. This 6-month goal achieving system is really something. And the reason I'm excited is because I know that anyone who participates in this is going to achieve some phenomenal results. Welcome to a goal achieving system that is designed to help you do just that. The program is called Thinking into Results, and this is my 6th time going through this material in a structured manner. The Thinking into Results program guides you through a powerful 12-lesson process for creating your new desired results. Each lesson builds upon the previous lesson. It is important to periodically review the program in its entirety for constant reinforcement of the ideas. It is through the repetition of the lessons that you will experience permanent changes. It doesn't matter if you've been through this material before, and it doesn't matter if you've started and stopped. It doesn't even matter if you're in the middle of studying this material, but you are on a different lesson than the one we're on. You're welcome to join each weekly call. There's a few housekeeping items I want to cover before each weekly call, and then we're going to watch the lesson video and then go over the exercises and answer any questions you have about the lesson or the assignments. Now, the whole point of having the weekly Zoom calls is to keep you accountable to yourself, to watch the lesson video, review the exercise questions, and answer any questions you might have about the lesson or the assignments. The intention is to change your current results. And it's really, really simple to do that if we follow the system. Remember, I'm also going through this with you. I've got some new results in mind for my life, just like you. So I wanted to take a minute and go over what we're going to be covering during the next 24 weeks, and then go over some agreements I want to make with you, and then we'll get into the lesson 1 video. Now, the first module that I'm going to be working with you on is how to set and achieve worthy goals. We've got to identify and impress that on what we call the subconscious part of your mind. We want to get that goal so imprinted that you start believing it, not just intellectually, but emotionally. And if you ever want to look where your thinking is, simply look at your results and it will tell you what you're thinking about. Then the next lesson I'm going to be working with you is on the knowing-doing gap. And you're really going to love it because you're going to be able to actually see how I'm going to take you from the results you're having to the results you want. You're going to see that space in the middle, that's the space we want to focus on how to fill that gap. And then I'm going to work with you on how to use your mind to create the results you want and introduce our higher mental faculties: reason, perception, imagination, intuition, memory, and will. Because all those faculties are going to be crucial for you to change your results. Now, once you get a handle on these mental faculties, Bob said, you're off to the races, baby. The 4th module is all about how to untap your true potential. You're going to start using more of your true potential, and it's going to be amazing. The 5th module is the trick to staying in charge no matter the circumstances. We got to get your mind so disciplined that you're not letting the outside environment influence you. Your thinking can't come from your bank account, not from your businesses, not from your profit and loss statement. I want you to think about it from your goals perspective. Then we're going to work on how to develop yourself into a better leader. The 7th module I'm going to work with you on is how to overcome fear and procrastination. We can't let a doubt creep in, because a doubt is going to cripple you, and we're going to work through that. Our 8th lesson is going to be something you're going to love. It's called the power of praxis. This is how to align our beliefs and our behaviors to creating the results we want in our life. How to really get everything aligned. So you know how we're talking about the conscious mind, the subconscious? Your want is already there in your conscious mind, and I'm going to get you to a place where that desire becomes a goal. Once we get that, you're going to take off. And you're going to start attracting all these opportunities to you that's going to make that a reality. The 9th module that I'm going to go through with you is the magic of attitude. Attitude is so important. When you study successful people, those working towards a purpose, would you agree with me they have an impeccable mindset? The 10th lesson is all about how to create a quantum leap. We're talking about a massive quantum leap here. The 11th lesson is the impression of increase. This is how to leave everyone better off than how you found them. My last lesson is how to magnify the power of your mind, also known as masterminding. Now, there's a formal way of masterminding with others, but I want you to know that these weekly Zoom calls could also constitute a mastermind. I mentioned some agreements. For best results, everyone should agree to the following 5 steps every day. Number 1, watch the lesson video each morning during your study of lesson 1. Number 2, work on the exercises from the participant's guide. Number 3, listen to the audio of lesson 1 frequently throughout your day. Number 4, watch the lesson video at the end of the day. Repeat these steps each day for 14 days. Now let's watch the lesson 1 video.
Hello there and welcome. I want to congratulate you for taking part in this program, Thinking into Results. You know, you probably think this just has to do with your work, but it really doesn't. This has to do with your family. It has to do with your social life, your health. It has to do with your life. I began studying this material close to 50 years ago. My life has changed so dramatically. I live in a healthy body. I'm happy. I'm wealthy. I have friends all over the world. And I have business all over the world. And it's all because of this material. You have absolutely no idea where this is going to take you. And when we talk about results, let's understand this. It's what we think that ultimately manifests as results. And that may seem like a bit of an exaggeration or maybe even a fairy tale to you at this point. But as you start to study it, you're going to realize it's not an exaggeration and it's not a fairy tale. It's real. So take this program seriously. Your leaders are going to give you something that you're going to be grateful for the rest of your life. I am forever grateful every day to have this information because you see, I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of my world, and you're going to take charge of your world. You'll no longer be a victim of circumstance or a victim of any kind, because you're going to take responsibility for your life and the results you get. We never have to blame. We never have to look at anybody else. And we're in control of how we think, how we feel, how we act, and therefore the results we get. You're going to start loving how you spend your days when you've got thinking into results in your pocket and in your mind. Enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Sandy Gallagher, your partner on this journey, Thinking into Results. When I first met Bob Proctor, I was already a successful business attorney, and I thought my life couldn't get much better, but it did. My life has expanded dramatically. I've learned a lot from Bob since we first met. He got me to shift my thinking and see the relationship of my mind to my behavior and my results. Bob Proctor is widely considered one of the greatest teachers in the world on the topic of human potential and growth. He's worked with many of the top companies around the world, from banks to airlines to insurance companies to computer giants like IBM. Working with Bob generates phenomenal results. One of the most valuable concepts that Bob taught me is the importance of setting goals. Not just any goal, not a goal you know how to achieve. I'm talking about a goal, a dream, a vision, something you think, something you know, in fact, is beyond your experience today. Because the true purpose of a goal is to help you grow in your awareness of yourself and of your team. What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are your goals? Let's see how you can begin thinking in a new and powerful way and begin discovering your true purpose in life. Are you ready?
The lesson that we're going to do right now could have a greater impact in your life than anything else. It certainly did on mine. You receive a little goal card. This is where you sit down and write out what you want on a card. And then you carry it loose in your purse or your pocket. Now on one side we've got here, change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice, and it is. Do you know that you could wander up and down the streets of any city, anywhere in the world, and ask one person after another, what is their goal? And they'll look at you, and odds are pretty good they'll say, what do you mean? And if by chance you find someone that has a clearly defined goal, ask if they've got it in writing. And again, odds are pretty good they won't. If you decide what you want, and you write it on the card, and you carry it with you, I guarantee you it must happen. It absolutely must happen in your life. Now, why do we have goals? See, the average individual would say we have a goal to get more. You know, get a better house, get a bigger house, get a boat, get more money. No. That may be a result of the goal. You may, accumulate more in your life and nicer and better things. But the real purpose of a goal is to grow. It causes you to draw something out of yourself that you didn't even know was there. Now, when we set a goal, we're going after something we want. And if you know how to reach it, it's the wrong goal. Now, that probably sounds pretty silly. When you set a goal, you're going after something you want. And if you know how to reach it, it's probably the wrong goal. You're going sideways. I always mention that goals fall into three categories. I refer to it as A, B, and C. A-type goals are doing something you already know how to do. And I use an example in a program that I wrote about a young man that came to me and he asked me if I'd talk to him about his goal. And I said, sure, what's your goal? He said, I want to get a new car. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, what kind of a car do you want? He said, a new Pontiac. I said, well, Pontiac's a nice car. I've had a Pontiac. And I said, what are you driving now? And he said, a Pontiac. Really? I said, how long have you had it? And he said, 4 years. I said, how old's the Pontiac? He said, 4 years old. And I said, then what you're telling me is that you have had a new Pontiac that you bought 4 years ago. You bought it new. He said, that's right. And I said, that's not a good goal, because you've known for 4 years how to do that. There's going to be no growth attached to it. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a new Pontiac, but it would not constitute a goal. A goal is something that you're going to go after you've never done before. Now, when people move away from A-type goals, they generally go to B-type goals. And that's where they sit down and they gather all the information they've got, all the resources they've got, and they say, if all these things happen, then I could accomplish this. And they make a plan. They've got an absolutely beautiful plan. They've got the plan, and if all these things happen, then I can accomplish this. This is what they think they can do. You see, the A-type is what they know they can do. B is what they think they can do. Now, do you know that there's no inspiration in going after something like that? Absolutely none. And if you're going to really accomplish something, you're going to have to be inspired. You're going to have to pull on something that you haven't pulled on before. I mean, it's going to have to come from inside. See, people go after B-type goals, they get going, and they get bored, they're not inspired, and so they quit, they give up. Now, the C-type goal is wants. And what you want, I'm talking about what you really want. Most people say, I don't know what I want. I don't believe that. I think you do know what you want. I think you're rejecting it before you give it any serious thought. To decide what you want, you've got to sit down and totally relax. And then you have to let your imagination wander. When you're going after wants, you're dealing with fantasy. See, the one, you're going after what you know. The other one, you're going after what you think you can do. And the wants is fantasy. Now, we have been conditioned as kids that fantasy is just for little kids. You don't fantasize. You've got to know how things are going to happen. But you see, you and I are the only creature on the planet, so far as we know, that can fantasize. Ed Hillary fantasized that he would stand on top of the world and he climbed Mount Everest. The Wright brothers, a couple of ordinary bicycle mechanics, they fantasized they'd introduce us to a new kingdom, and they did. Now think of this for a moment. What do you fantasize? See, as a little kid, you could fantasize, and your mother and dad let you do that because it got you out under their feet. You'd sit down in front of the kitchen cupboards with pots and pans, and God knows only what you did with it. But then you went to school. Bob, pay attention. Your mind's wandering. Will you quit looking out the window and listen to what I'm telling you? And you see, we'd get punished, and pretty soon we stopped fantasizing. We put our imagination away, and we stopped using it. Do you know, Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Don't you find it strange that we have great, huge companies, big multinationals, with small creative departments? We have people wandering around saying, well, I'm not really creative. Writers are creative, musicians are, but I'm really not creative. Everyone is creative. Creativity comes from the root creator, which is within. Everybody's creative. It's a matter, are you expressing your creativity? Well, don't let people steal your dream. When you sit down and decide what you want, you won't know how you're going to get it. The fun is in finding out how you're going to do it. When I set a goal, if it doesn't sort of scare me, I know I'm on the wrong track. See, if you know how you do it, you're going to go sideways. You've got to build a fantasy. You take the fantasy and you move it from fantasy to a theory. You keep playing with it. And you go from fantasy to a theory, and you take and you build an image, and just follow the pyramid that we've got here for you. And you turn it into a theory. Now that is when we're giving our fantasy some serious consideration. We're starting to use our reasoning mind, and we're starting to give this some serious thought. Now, before we can turn the theory into a goal, we have to ask ourselves a couple of things. Am I able to do this? Am I able? Well, if we believe everything we've been taught by both science and theology, the only two sources of reference we have to go to, we have deep reservoirs of talent. We have infinite potential. Absolutely, I'm able. I don't know how, but I'm able. The second question we have to ask, am I willing? Am I willing to pay the price? Am I willing to do what I have to do to get to where I'm going? See, Ed Hillary had to go to Nepal in 1951, in 1952, and 1953. No one had ever been to the top of Mount Everest. Everyone in the world told him it couldn't be done. Anybody that tried died. But he kept going back. He was willing to do whatever was required, and he got to the top of that mountain. Have you any idea how those two young bicycle mechanics, the Wright brothers, were ridiculed? Told to quit wasting time? Have you any idea how many times people laughed at Edison when he said what he was going to do? He was going to make this incandescent light. Do you know he failed about 10,000 times? He was willing to do that. See, failing at something doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. You could ask, am I able to do this? Yeah, I'm able. Am I willing? Yeah, I'm willing. I am willing to pay the price. At that second, your theory turns into a goal. Now, as you get emotionally involved in the goal, you're going to find that your emotional involvement is going to change your behavior. Yet you're going to find as your behavior changes, the results start to change. And your theory turns into a fact. And once you reach the goal, it turned into a fact. That puts you in a position to build bigger and better fantasies. Now, let's back up a bit. How do you decide what you want? See, that's a pretty big idea. You've got to sit down as an individual and start writing all your wants down. Make it a shopping list. See, I think there's two goals people should have. They should have a personal goal, and then they should have a corporate goal. You might want to sit down with your peers in your department and say, what could we accomplish in this department? It could be the sales department. It might be, as a group, collectively, take the sales to a point that would shock the executives in the company. It could be in the machine shop. Let's make this place the most effective machine shop in the world. It could be in the accounting department. Let's make sure everything's right on tap. They're goals. And as we work towards them, we unify our energies. We work together, but we're working towards a point. See, when people are working towards something, they're alive. If they're just working, they don't have any fun. So we've got to sit down and we've got to decide, what do I really want? And start to make a list. You're capable of doing anything. And what we're really doing is raising our level of conscious awareness. And you're going to find when you decide on the thing on the list that you want more than anything, that becomes the star you're shooting at. That's what's written on the card. That becomes the goal. It might be an income, it might be a position, it might be a new home, it might be a trip. That becomes the goal. Yeah, that's what you work towards. And you're forever trying to become more effective so you can raise your consciousness and you become aware of how to do it. It's the same in a department. We have a masterminding session, a brainstorming session. How can we make this department more effective than it is? Now, you're going to find possibly someone who say, well, I'm not doing that. Well, then that's okay. They're not part of the group. Don't let another person dictate how you're going to live. Don't let conditions or circumstance dictate. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you. It's what's going on inside. George Bernard Shaw said that people are always blaming circumstance for where they are. He said, I don't believe in circumstance. The people that get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. So you absolutely refuse to let anything that's going on outside stop you. Do you know, there's a cute story about the Maharishi and yoga when he was taking his transcendental meditation to the world, or planning to. Someone asked him, well, where's all the money going to come from? He said, wherever it is right now. See, nothing's created or destroyed. If nothing's created or destroyed, everything's already here, if not in one state or another. The way to fly airplanes has always been here. Internet, it's always been here. We just weren't aware of how to do it. And as we raise our conscious awareness, we've got it. Nothing is created or destroyed. All science and all theology have taught us that for years. Now, when we really start to understand that, we live in an ocean of motion. We're living in a constant evolution of change. But remember when I said personal growth is a choice. You've got to have a goal. You've got to wake up in the morning and get excited. I'm working towards my goal. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm creating this program with you. I'm working towards a goal. I have a business partner, Sandy Gallagher. She wants to build this worldwide, the corporate division. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're working towards. That's why we're spending time here right now, building this program. So help you. See, the only way to reach the goal is to provide greater service. And as you provide greater service, you're going to grow. You're going to move ahead. Things inside of you are going to start to happen. An individual that doesn't have a goal is lost. They don't know where they're going. Can you imagine going on a trip and you don't know where you're going? Somebody say, well, where are you going to go? I don't know, west. Where? I mean, you could be going around the world and just going around the world and around the world. Well, where are you going? I'm going west. Well, when you get there, you still can go west. Imagine driving out of your driveway. You've got no destination. Which way would you turn? You see, we're goal-seeking organisms, every one of us. Have you ever watched a little baby? The baby's goal is to walk. It falls, it bangs its head, it cries, it bleeds, but it doesn't stay down. It gets up and it gets going. And pretty soon, it's, look, Ma, I'm walking. Then they get on a bike. And the trick is to balance it, learn how to ride. Pretty soon it's, look, Ma, no hands. But you know what your goal is? Your goal, your real purpose in life is to grow. You want to sit down and ask yourself, what do you really love to do? That's what you're going to get good at. That's what your purpose is going to be all about. That's what your goal is all about. Move toward what you want. Have a personal goal, have a corporate goal. Now, your personal goal and your corporate goal in your department should be consistent with the corporate goal that the executive team set. So you want to make sure, as you go towards the big one, that all your little ones will fall into place. And I guarantee you, you'll set something on fire inside of you that there's nothing like it. Goal achievers are productive individuals. They're happy, they're productive, they're prosperous. They're the ones that make the world change. Don't listen to people that tell you why something can't be done. Don't listen to people that tell you the economy is controlling them. You control the economy. You're God's highest form of creation. Steve Bowe, who was a vice president with the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, said one time something that I have never forgot. He said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. I like that. You might want to take and memorize that. It's done me a lot of good. Now I've shared it with you. Set your goal, get it on your card, bury it in your mind. Tell yourself, I'm able and I'm willing, and then go and do it. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate you on taking this first step towards thinking into results. Now that you know a lot more about setting goals, the right kind of goals, what do you do next? You take action, because that's where the learning really begins. Without action, goals are just fantasies. So sit down with your coworkers, take some time and ask them, if we had all the resources we needed and there were no limitations or restrictions, what would we want to accomplish together as a department? It's really a great opportunity to collaborate and be creative, because everyone wins by coming together for a common goal, and everyone soars when those common goals are big, worthy goals. So good luck, and I'll see you at the next lesson.
That was amazing. I really love Bob and Sandy. In the Lesson 1 video, Bob talked about starting with a fantasy and being willing to go for it, and that there's a price to be paid for that. These 5 simple steps are part of that price. Another thing he talked about was making a list of all the things you want, which is designed to raise your conscious awareness. Remember, there's a collective wisdom in this program that Bob and Sandy put together, and all we have to do is follow it. When you decide on the thing on your list, that's the star you're shooting for. That's what's written on the card. If anyone needs some goal cards, by the way, send me an email at developyoursuperpowers@gmail.com, and I'll send you some. Circumstances have nothing to do with anything. For the next 24 weeks, we're going to keep our mind on whatever's on that card. So what do you love to do? Don't listen to people who tell you something can't be done. Don't listen to people who say the economy is controlling them. You control the economy. You're God's highest form of creation. So set your goal, get it on your card, bury it in your mind, tell yourself I'm able and I'm willing, and then go and do it. Now I've got 15 minutes of meditation music I want to play, and I want you to get out a piece of paper and write down what you want in your life, personally and financially. If you've already come up with something, write down what your life would be like as you hold an image of that materializing in your life. You don't have to share this with anyone, but go there in your mind and paint the scene with words. Go there in your mind. Okay, so did you go there? Isn't that beautiful? So let's take a look at these lesson 1 questions. Question number 1 is, do I have good sound reasons for my beliefs? Question number 2 is, where did my beliefs come from? Number 3, would changing my beliefs improve my life? Number 4, how do I change my beliefs? So the next question is, if someone were to stop you on the street and ask you, what is your goal? How would you respond? Do you have goals? Are they written down? And question number 2, type C goals are your wants, what you really want. What do you really want? What is it you would like very much to be, do, or have, even though you may feel it is, for one reason or another, somewhat beyond your reach at the present time? Allow yourself to relax and let your imagination wander. Fantasize. Create a shopping list of all your wants. Include personal wants and professional wants. As you are fantasizing, do not give one speck of mental energy to how this goal is going to be accomplished. Do not concern yourself with where the money, the time, the assistance you may require is going to come from. Attempting to think of how will either limit or destroy the fantasy. Just think of what you want. Question number 3. Now, from each of these lists of wants, select one that you want more than anything. It is essential that you choose something special, something you personally feel very drawn to and is important to you. You must want it, and you must really want it with your heart and soul. It is also important that the wants you choose are in harmony. They must not pull you in opposite directions. So here you want to write down your personal want and your professional want. Question number 4. It is very important that you give all of your mental energy to the building of the image of the good that you desire. Begin to think about these wants as an image in your mind. Write about these wants existing in your life in the present tense. See yourself in possession of whatever it is you want. Now write your personal and professional goals on your goal card. You should be able to articulate your goal in one concise sentence. Look at your goal card every morning as often as you can throughout the day and every night. Question number 6. How do you feel about setting your personal and professional goals? Number 7, in the space provided, write 6 action steps you could take right now to move towards your personal and professional goal. Now, just coming up with the image of what you want, it's going to bring up in you some kinds of actions. You're going to think of some actions to take. And these are direct actions. These aren't, an action you're going to take isn't to sit and meditate. Okay, that's something you want to do, but that's not an action. An action is, I'm going to go out and talk to 10 people today. I'm going to send 5 emails to people I know. I'm going to apply for 5 jobs if you were looking for work. I'm going to go look at new houses that I plan to buy. I'm going to go take a look at the brand new car that I want to buy. I'm going to go down to, I'm going to find an accountant and hire them to manage my money. These are all actions. Okay, so that's it. Those are the questions. Now, you don't have to do all the questions in one fell swoop, but you pick away at them over the week, over the 2-week period. Listen to the video every day, every morning. Listen to the video every morning. Listen to the video every night. Chip away at the exercises. So remember to take that time to visualize the thing that you're going after. Make it real. Make it a place that you go to. And then I'll see you next week.